Hey, everybody. Okay, no. I've started recording just in case we do anything juicy. I figured today we'd talk about just the election and stuff, current
Okay, yes, that was
stuff.
the question.
Are you
That
okay
was
with.
my thing
Is
earlier when I was
everybody
like,
okay with talking low key about the election? Just like 40 minutes of, hey man, we're hopeful for the future. Or something like
sure.
that. Unless we're
Yeah,
not hopeful for the future, which is
yeah.
fair
Before we
too.
get fully into it, let me open OBS. Yeah. I
I
have now
also.
read up. I was avoiding for the pet for like the week and a half, almost 2 weeks before the election. I was like, I didn't look at news. I didn't do anything.
Shame on you. You know what
But
I have to
but
say about that?
I could not. I was like so freaked out about it. But
I
then once I was
experienced I experienced a great sensation of peace because of my decisions. Thank you very much. I'll just wait till you're started and we'll get going. I also did another thing earlier today, which I feel like I really need to bitch about. And you'll understand why when I bring it up. It's not related to the election, but it'll make you feel, or
one
it
moment,
won't.
I have to get like a background image to have, so I'm not just looking at my home screen.
Oh, what
I,
you
I
background
know exactly
images?
what image.
Background images. What are those?
Oh, I know exactly what I'm getting up to, and it's gonna be fucking
You
hilarious.
gonna put up the wololo that my brother shared?
No,
Have you seen that?
no.
Hop over to the 5-person chat real quick. Don't like go into it, but just
Okay,
look at my
what's the
brother's chats.
mascot for the Philadelphia Flyers again? Gritty. Thank you, Babu.
The Flyers have a mascot?
Yes, his name is Gritty, and he's a fucking orange Coke thing, Coke monster.
That's weird. Yeah, but Marshall shared a great Age of Empires meme over on our shared chat there.
Okay.
Wololo.
Oh, those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Oh,
I'll
my
definitely.
my
I'll
brother
have
has shared me
mine
so
waiting in the
many.
wind.
My brother lives in the meme zone, so that's how he expressed his joy over the
Okay,
election.
yeah,
He was
I
never
have a bunch
like,
for you.
"Oh, hooray!" No, he just shared me fucking loads of memes. Are you ready to
Yeah,
start?
I'm gonna have the Biden up as the fucking Moses one first.
Are we ready to start, boys and
Yeah.
girls?
I was like, did you get my text?
I think I got stuff
Trump,
from you too.
uh, day
Was
of
there an ice
election.
cream cone
Like
involved?
he's smirking. No, no. It was him smirking, like looking all like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. And then end of election night, like you are fake news. And
Oh
then
yeah.
Trump now, and it was Michael Cera's sad walk from Arrested Development.
Oh yeah. I saw that. I saw that. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hello, everybody. WALAB cast. We are the Wallaby Mages, joining you once again from the beautiful city of so many different cities, just so many different
The
places in this
beautiful
country,
multiverse. We are in the multiverse.
from across the swing states. Yes.
That is pretty true.
I like two of you at least.
I am ashamed of my swing state. My swing state went red. Also, disclaimer. Like, I'm sorry if you are right leaning and watch this and really loved Trump. I appreciate that you're having a bad time. I went through something similar back when Obama was first elected and then second elected before I grew up and became a big boy man with big boy pants. I am sorry. I understand your pain.
Wrong.
Yeah, enjoy that copium. Keep sucking on that copium over there. I have some extra supply if you're looking for it. Yeah. But basically, we have three different perspectives here. I followed the election like a fucking machine. I forsook the rest of my life. Bathing, eating, picking up my wife from work, eating, work. I stopped working. I took the week off and thought I will relax, and then I followed the election instead. Um, we have Sean, who closed himself in his house after he voted. and cried into his
My kitties.
waifu pillow, his cat girl waifu pillow, and prayed that everything would turn out. And we have Dave, who lives in Washington D.C. and watched the chaos.
Helion.
Lived in the city of sin.
He wants to know what's going on in politics. He opens his window and sees which district's on fire and closes it, and makes his assumption that based off of that.
Like, looks out window, hears screaming and shouting, has to listen carefully to hear if it's the right screaming and shouting.
Yeah. Listens closely, hears "Stop the steal." Like, yep, Biden's winning. Also, just another disclaimer: I don't think anybody here really likes Biden, so we're not sipping on that Biden juice. We're sipping on that haterade.
Juice.
We're sipping on haterade. Not
we're not having the
Biderade.
Biden hard on. We just wanted not Trump.
Yeah, we're tired. We're so tired. I'm still tired.
Tired of the orange Helion.
I will say I've never followed the election like this before, and it was A, surprisingly enjoyable. B, a huge release. Right? I feel as though a burden has been lifted off my shoulders. Though I know that's not exactly the case, right? The future is still coming. We've got a bunch of QAnon people in like the Senate and shit. In the House. I can't believe that.
We still have recounts to do, so...
We have recounts. You know, something can go horribly wrong.
It's going to be scary. Even if it's like the recounts are probably go fine, nothing's going to change with that. But it's what's going to happen between then and January 11th or whatever the fuck swearing day is.
The way I see it...
That's what the scary time's going to be.
The way I see it, the racist mobs are going to come out no matter what. They were already acting up, right? If Trump won, then you'd have these Proud Boys thinking they could do anything, right? Trump loses, you have these Proud Boys thinking there's no reason for them to not to do whatever they want. You know,
Catch 22.
Typically, to my understanding, socialism does better under centrists and left-leaners, as opposed to straight-up fascism.
Most European countries that are currently running exceedingly well are democratic socialists. They're not full socialists, but they're that closer toward centrist, called democratic socialist. I was bored one day. I was looking into this because I was curious.
Democratic socialism and libertarian socialism are just socialism. They're just like schools of thought within socialism, and they're very common in Europe.
They're not quite fully socialist, where they're not taking quite as much yada yada.
I'm a socialist, but I'm not like a hard on guy, right? I appreciate that.
Yeah, so you'd be like democratic socialist.
I'm not an ideologue, right? I know what I want, but I know that that's not going to necessarily be the way things go. So I am just going to try and do the most good with what little resource I've been given, right? Which is a vote in Ohio. So basically a drop in the sea, right? Me and Sean are both from swing states. Dad Frank is from the state where swinging occurs. All the kinds of swinging. Sexual and physical also. Physically violent, I assume. How is DC, by the way, Dave? Is DC like safe?
I mean, I would say yeah. In terms of like, okay, you want to be in certain parts and you want to avoid other parts. But that's any big city, really.
Yeah. I figured. I know people have sounded rowdy this morning. This morning I heard a lot of revving engines and shouting people, which is like not abnormal for Ohio, but it made me worried for a second that something might be about to be on fire. And it's Ohio, right? So there's nobody chanting "Stop the Steal" over here. They all leave to Michigan or whatever. Minnesota. You're all driving down to Pennsylvania.
Gotta push that boat in.
They're fucking rowdy.
Yeah. I am also ashamed because today I found at the start of this election I found out something that I should have known, and that's you have electors, and not only do you have electors, but states they'll go wholesale for one party or another,
Hmm.
and I hadn't realized that for some reason because I'm very stupid. Even though I did a video in a past election where things went like that, my brain didn't think, oh yeah, things are still like that. Except in Nebraska, which is awesome. I wish we'd do that more where
That
the electors all counted.
that and Maine, the
Yeah, Maine sent
person
one
who
over to
the person who wins Maine doesn't get all of the electors. I was like, all right, you want to be different like that? Go for it. I'm not your mom.
That is more democratic. I will give it that. I'm not a huge fan of the Electoral College because it's not very democratic.
Electoral College is fucking god awful.
Shit,
Yeah.
if you're giving away the whole state, you're not even very Republican either, you know?
Yeah, because I was actually thinking about this the other day because I was like, I saw someone talking about like without the Electoral College, the three big cities would be deciding it every year. But then I also looked at from the point of with the Electoral College, say you're in California, which is heavily blue, like they won it. It was blue by literally like 5 times the amount. There was like 5 times as many Biden votes as Trump votes, at least. So
Yeah.
it's like
Well-
all those people passed like 20,000 more, just like didn't matter. At that point, it's basically their vote kind of like almost didn't matter there.
And I'm of the opinion that if we're going to stick with the Republican thing, which I think is a start, when I say Republic, I mean Electoral College thing, it'd be nice to have at least each elector vote count. Like each of those regions count for something. It's worth noting that that doesn't necessarily mean that left or right would win, especially considering I think if you had a different dynamic, the way people campaign would change. Because as it is right now, everybody just goes to the swing states. They visit other places, but they focus the swing states so heavily, it's ridiculous.
This is something I brought up with my wife that, okay, the election was skewed, 4 million extra votes for Biden, but it didn't really matter. What mattered was about 100,000 people spread over 5 states. That's who decided this election.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that boggles my mind. Being from this country, I'm like, wait, how did it get to that? Where we have almost all of our country being decided by like a small town's worth of people in 5 different states.
You know, what gets me the most is, and I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure Pennsylvania has always taken longer to count its votes, right? Now it's not always, I don't know if it's necessarily been this long. And it's been a month of Sundays, and I should have checked. But everybody's freaking out over these votes, right? That they're counting, these mail-in votes.
Yeah.
And I don't get that. Like, this is not that weird.
No,
The places that lagged the most, for the most part, were places that always lagged.
Yeah, Nevada's always super slow.
The mail-in votes were always going to cause things to take a little extra time.
Yeah, I'm honestly shocked we got news back this fast.
And, like, people are like, oh, these votes are fake. They're a steal. And, like, oh, you want to prevent that? Here's an idea. Maybe be like, hey, Republicans, we need to put enough of our votes into the electoral votes so that it's not a steal. Or the mail-in votes so that it's not a steal. And
Which is what they did with Florida. Because they had already had long-time standing vote-in mail. So they were allowed to basically count all their stuff before. Which is why election day they could actually give an accurate result. Pennsylvania was actively denied that because I don't know. Trump wanted it that way. He wanted it to appear as if they were trying to fudge the numbers, but I'm like,
oh yeah, it's
you
a coup.
wanted it. You wanted it.
I really think it's sort of a half-assed attempt at a coup. Whether he'll have the balls to go through with it, I don't know. I definitely don't think he's going to have enough popular support with that. I really
No.
don't think he's going to get like, not with the military or the CIA or whatever. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, yeah, this guy who's been giving us all this trouble this whole time. Totally, 4 more years. I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Again, like if the FBI director comes out and is like, "Yeah, we haven't found any of this so-called fraud or anything that's going on. This is a bunch of
Yeah,
bullshit.
like even
Wasting my time."
even a Pennsylvania Republican senator, Pat Toomey, who for one thing is a complete crazy man. I've met him a few times. He's nuts. He's nuts.
I don't
off his rocker.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
gotcha.
I don't remember ever meeting Pat Toomey. I only remember what's his name? The other guy.
I don't even remember his name.
I taught his kid once. What's his name?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. That's a story that
Yeah.
will never be discussed.
Yeah,
And
but
now we're just
he
not going to
even
discuss
came
it.
out. Yeah, he even came out and was like, I have not seen any evidence of like foul voting, of like
Yeah.
voter fraud and all that.
Yeah.
So it's like the leaders of the state are being like, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, it turns out even shitty people like democracy. Is that? Oh no, that's me. Oh, okay, that me. I'm sorry. I had my output and input swapped places because I'm stupid. But yeah, I really think that this is just grasping at straws. He realized the strong chance that he wasn't gonna win, and so
Yeah, I don't know why too, because like he's from the first election, like he never thought it was going to go for him, and then like he was surprised and like worried the night that he was like proclaimed the winner, and he's like, "Holy shit, I actually have to do this shit now."
yeah.
And now he's given this chance to like back out, and he's like, "No, I'm staying in it. I'm in it to win it, baby."
Yeah.
Could have just gone, man.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been watching a lot of a YouTube streamer by the name of Vaish. He's all right. And what I liked was he was sort of going over step by step electoral stuff and sort of discussing the reasons why, which is something you can find a lot of places. But if I can get it from a yelly socialist beard man instead of a formerly blonde-haired old man from like CNN or some shit, I'll do that. But he was, oh god, I've lost my train of thought. What the fuck? I had a thing I was gonna say. No. Oh, he was talking about Trump did a speech where he talked about the different stuff. And the funniest thing was he was making a joke when Trump started about, oh, all of our poll watchers were so far away. Oh, it's so bad. And he took a minute and he made a joke where he was like, oh, they're out to watch with binoculars. They're in the next building. And then Trump was like, in some cases, they had to use binoculars. And he was just like, oh, he did the meme. And it was funny. But what I thought struck me the most was he was talking about in the speech, he said, oh, in one case, a volunteer was body checked, right? He was body blocked, who was trying to get a closer look at the polls or polling data or something. And it's like, wait a second. No, that's not what happened in this story. The volunteer he's talking about was one of the Stop the Steal protesters. It's like if a Antifa person, was ransacking a shop or something, and then we were like, oh man, this volunteer in Detroit was apprehended for doing work on a shop, right? That's like the equivalent ridiculousness there. Like, what is this? Why does nobody else see this? I'm gonna be interested in talking to my mom and dad about this because they're gonna have some weird shit to say. I can already tell. Either that or else they're gonna be very, very disappointed, which they will be anyway. I high-fived a ghost that wasn't here because I have no one to high-five in this room. Yeah, how's Pennsylvania, Sean? Everything still secure over there? They burned down the pollsters yet, or?
No, it's generally surprisingly all right. I'm waiting for after the recount and all this bullshit / all this like legal shit to go over. I'm expecting that's when everything's gonna blow up, and I work with the kind of people that are going to be the ones that are going to give him more protection and support than like the actual military and CIA. Because I work at least specifically with one guy that would literally probably would take up arms in defense of Trump. Like, this guy is terrifying.
My brother was talking about the same sort of thing because he works in a factory as well. The factory people I worked with, I don't think they have the extra energy. They work them 12-hour shifts. There ain't nothing left after 12 hours. Don't matter how much you care. Don't miss that. I miss all that 12-hour shift money, but I don't miss that. But yeah, anybody heard anything about those caravans, like the Trump caravans? The road terrorists that have made every commute I've had since an absolute living nightmare?
What?
So you know the Trump flag people who ran the Biden bus off the road, right?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, God, that was in Texas, I think.
Okay.
And they
No, I
rode
haven't heard about that.
they blocked a bridge in New York, and some of them rode a Biden bus off the road. There are a couple others, but they're caravans, and they have those Trump flags on their cars. They're driving around causing chaos. And here's the thing. Associated or not, Ohio is fucking packed with these people. You're going to see one if you drive up the street to your Wendy's 5 minutes away and drive back. It would be weird not to see 2 or 3. If you saw only one, you'd be like, that's strange. I wonder what happened. But it caused a lot of anxiety for me because I'd see a couple and I'd be like, what's happening? Am I about to see something? Are they going to close down a road?
As the Civil War started.
Oh, God. Man.
No Civil War started in your state?
Not in my state. We'll see.
I'm like decently shocked because this has been extremely inflammatory, and I came across this realization of like what I always envisioned growing up of like the way a president's supposed to be of like, yeah, you can have your back.
Yeah.
What I was disillusioned to have as this image of like you're supposed to be trying to play to the people. You're supposed to be trying to bring everyone together, yada yada yada.
You're supposed to be a civil servant, and to that I say amen. Hallelujah.
Trump's like,
you were the chosen one.
And then Trump was just everything else.
Not
like the one spreading the conspiracy theories was the one yelling about everyone's bullshit, and the slightest shit was just slandering left and right. I was like, this is not what I had. But then I was also seeing the transition of like seeing that a president that is acting like this, inflaming everybody else. All those people that would like, okay, maybe they're gonna be conspiracy theorists about left or right or thing, but then the president is the one being the conspiracy theorist. So even more people are buying into these crazy conspiracy theories.
Well, it's like so the American government has always had an illusion, or has usually had an illusion of civility, right? And the white suprematism, the white superiority stuff has always been like code, not text, right? So you put fascists in charge in other countries so we stay rich and powerful. You take advantage of countries that have a easily exploited workforce, etc., etc. And now we have fascism happening in the United States. And I'm not going to say, oh yeah, Trump is totally a 100% fascist. I would say rather that Trump is willing to fully exploit fascists. Because people like to act like he's dumb.
He's a megalomaniac.
Because thinking he's dumb is a really fucking bad idea. The guy's rich. He had a good education. He's got resources and allies he's been working on his whole life. You know, this is something, he wanted to be president a long time before he became president. And he's not just blundered his way into office. That's the comfortable, easy thing to think. You know, he's willing to take advantage of these fascists and alt-right people and give them a platform and say that they're okay.
Yeah,
which is why I prefer Biden. Because at least Biden's not going to be like stand down and stand by and sort of implicitly put a bounty on my head and the head of everybody who would dare say, I do not like fascism very much, thank you.
No, he's just going to creepily massage your shoulders.
Yes, I'm okay with that. I mean, my wife gives me creepy massages every day, so.
Creepy Uncle Touchy, I'll take over, like, actively, like, supporting and rooting for people to take me and my life, like, away. Like, no thanks.
Yeah. I had another thing I wanted to talk about. Are we done with the election? Does anybody else have anything they wanted to cap into it? Sean, did you have a rant? Did you want to do a rant?
I mean, that's up to you guys. I can easily go more involved about the election, but I don't feel like I necessarily have a need to go on.
Yeah. This is just like, I want to take the moment then and say, it's nice. Glad to be over it, guys. For now, we're going to focus on media stuff in these podcasts. Unless, like, the Civil War breaks out or something, in which case we might have to say something. Maybe. We might have to do something if significant violence breaks out. But anyway,
in the background.
I said significant violence, by the way, because I'm not going to pretend that there's no violence at all. It's there.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some butt hurts everywhere, but like there were some butt hurts last time, but nobody got hurt over it.
I think that the fasci people, like the hard fasci people, not the Trump cultists, the actual like hard-boiled, openly admitted fascists are going to do some pretty nasty shit coming up. I do not doubt. After all, our president did tell them to stand down and stand by.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody's going to do something about Antifa. I'm sorry, that was sarcastic and I rolled my eyes. Okay, that's like a rant and a half, so I'm going to stop and rant about something fun. So I did something interesting today. Guess what it was? I watched The Last Skywalker.
Oh, you poor soul.
I know, right? And like,
I still haven't seen it.
That was a mistake.
I have two thoughts. Sean, let me tell you this. I love watching bad movies. I love watching good movies. I'm okay with watching boring movies. You will feel better if you go the rest of your life never watching The Last Skywalker. If in your old age, your last thought is, I will never know what The Last Skywalker was like, you will be happier than if you have watched it.
It really was the most awful thing.
Imagine, okay, there are two things that really get me. Imagine two things. Imagine there's a room filled with creatives and they're sitting around, right? And they have these great setting ideas. Endor and the fucking ruins of fucking Death Star are in the ocean, and battleships and stuff, and there'll be a duel on top of this wreckage.
Again, sounds
and then
cool.
Imagine the other creators being like, yeah, but we need to make sure that's all toned down and as boring as possible. Imagine a Sith planet, lightning explodes from the ground, swirling air, fucking chanting cultists, huge statues, and it's like where all the most boring generic stuff happens after the first introduction it gets in the movie. Imagine that the big twist is that the old bad guy is back and he brought all the old Star Wars stuff back with him. And the only new Star Wars thing is the stormtroopers are red. There are red stormtroopers now. Are they different from the other stormtroopers? No. They are red.
Good.
Imagine a fight that takes place in what you had assumed was space, because it very clearly is space. But no, there's air, it's in the atmosphere, even though they mention that the planet has solar winds affecting it, meaning it couldn't possibly have an atmosphere, because atmospheres shield the planet from things like that. But no! I'm supposed to not notice that.
Yeah.
But the big thing, what really killed this movie for me, is just like the ending of the last one, only every 5 minutes, they wouldn't commit. So at the end of the last fucking Jedi, I was, the last, what was it, The Last Jedi? Was that it?
Yeah.
The end of the Jedi or something?
Yeah, The Last Jedi.
And I thought, oh wow, they had such a great idea with this monologue, or not this monologue, this ideologue between Kylo Ren and Rey, with Luke having his own ideas. I liked the discussion of what does it all mean? Who's really right here? What if the Jedi aren't perfect and we should do something better? And then they gave that up at the end, and they gave it up all the way in this one, right? There was no even pretense of, oh, we're going to abandon the old Jedi ways. No, they just have the books that they call themselves Jedi, right? They almost committed to Rey having a double-bladed lightsaber, but no, that was saved for the evil Shadow Rey that she fights, but only for like half a second.
Shadow Rey.
She doesn't have any kind of personal Shadow Rey fight after that, which would be cool, but she has one for half a second. Or like, okay, so within the first 15 minutes of the film, all right, there's a scene. Rey, she can't control her anger. She nearly hurt BB-8. She used a staff, which I thought was foreshadowing, because she fights with like a staff and destroys the robot she can't beat with her lightsaber, right? But it wasn't. It wasn't. Don't worry, it wasn't. There was no clever foreshadowing here. And then she's like, I am not worthy of this lightsaber, Leia. Keep your brother's lightsaber. I can't have it. And then a minute and 30 seconds later, when she needs to leave on her mission, Leia's like, oh, hey, here, have the lightsaber back. And she's just like, and then they go on their way. There's a scene, and I'm sorry for spoiling this part. There's a scene where they run up to a ship in the middle of an open, sandy desert on top of a rock. Nobody looks left or right to see that there is not only one, but two ships parked right next to their ship, right? So Chewbacca wanders out and gets captured by the biggest badasses, the Knights of Ren, which they basically serve zero purpose in the movie. They're just
5 minutes of screen time, most of which was devoted to them just standing around. Oh, that's the Knights of Ren. Cool. That's about it.
That's literally the line. That's literally the line. They're like two nobodies standing there like, oh, hey, that's the Knights of Ren. The other guy's like, cool. Like, oh my god. And all the dialogue is like that. All the dialogue is like, that's the thing for the fans. Cool. That's what it's all like. But, you know, they have this thing, and there's a battle, and Rey, she lightning bolts the fucking transport because she gets angry, so she accidentally electrocutes it instead of pulling it, and it explodes, and Chewbacca's dead. Oh, no! Oh, no! And I'm like, Chewbacca's not going to be dead. They're not going to commit to that shit.
Yeah, no.
That'd be
Immediately,
good.
I was like...
And Chewbacca proceeds to have no fucking point in the whole movie. He adds nothing. He gets a fan nod at the end of the movie. He gets a fucking medal.
I straight up, I was the only person in the movie theater, so I could do that. I straight up yelled at the movie. I was like, no, go fuck yourself. Because I was just like not having it. I'm like, that's the fucking... one of the oldest memes of, where's Chewie's medal? And it's like, oh, he doesn't get one. But it's like, no, we gave it to him at the end of like the Skywalkers or the Rise of Skywalker. And it's like, oh, yay, Chewie finally got his medal. And it's like, no, go fuck yourself.
Okay, but Sean, you know what the worst thing is? You know how Finn had a thing where he was going to tell Rey something?
Yeah.
He's going to tell Rey, I think it's like, I love you or some stupid thing like that.
Yeah.
And like, he never tells her. They end the movie without him telling her. Which, like, if the movie was smart enough that, look, this moment he clearly told her then, or like the feeling is clearly... No, there's none of that, right? There was no moment... like, the movie's not smart enough throughout the whole that I could assume that, the meaning is here, I'm just not seeing it, right? The whole movie has that... oh, look, it's the Knights of Ren. Cool feel to it.
Yep.
As opposed to like any kind of deep think. The best part was I was getting really whingy toward the end. I was tired of all the stupid bullshit. And I was like, why can't we just get more shots of the chanting cultists in the bleachers and like the lightning flashing? I liked that. And then it did it. And that was nice. I thank the gods for that. The cultists that we get so few close-ups of. I want to know more about the cult.
You seem very upset with this movie.
It had so many cool settings, and it ruined it.
It kept going like high low for me because I was like, okay, that sounds cool, but you've put it into such a shitty like lineup that I'm just like, oh, we're doing this now. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Or like,
we could erase C-3PO's mind in order to get at some like key information, and it's like
but he's
that's
just
really
gonna get
cool.
it back.
It's
He's just gonna get it back.
C-3PO. Like, we could lose C-3PO forever, but we've offhandedly made the remark of, well, maybe R2's got a backup of your memory. It's like,
I liked that, but you know what should have happened?
No, we don't need that.
You know what should have happened? He should have fucking died. He should have fucking died. His circuit should have gone, and he should have lit on fire, and then we could be like, oh no! See, that subverts your expectation. They're like, oh hey, but at least we've got it back. Oh no, there's no backing up something that literally fucking burnt to death. Yeah. Or like, okay, so they have two female characters that they background added in, right? They have this female spice runner with a fucking helmet that she never takes off, and then she wears like a shirt and pants made out of purple sackcloth for some reason. Because everything in Star Wars, they all wear fucking grody ass sackcloth, no matter who the fuck they are. I don't understand that. Sorry. But she's got a purple sackcloth shirt and a dope helmet. She looks like a DJ, right? And she literally serves next to no purpose other than to be sort of a flirty background character, right? Then they have another female character who is like a former stormtrooper who's on the Dagobah planet, and she's like a former First Order, which I thought was sad because it'd be neat if they had like First Order and like Old Order stormtroopers and like a community there. Yeah. That'd be neat, but you know that would require them to have like them pass through a town filled with like people, right, as opposed to standing on a vacant hill with CGI in the background. And I thought something. I had this thought, like, why are these characters not just the same character? Literally, it's like, okay, so they're leaving the planet.
Was like, quote unquote, the first of the First Order to just like up and leave, but actually he wasn't. There's been dozens of them.
Like, I'm okay with that because him being the first is really stupid. Because other people would totally find a way to snivel out of that. But
yeah,
like, think of it. Picture this. All right, you're on one planet, right? And they have a discussion with this lady, and she's like, "I don't want to really get attached to you guys. I've got this chip to escape. It's my only way off of this shithole, right?" And like, then she just gives it away to a person that she says she doesn't trust. Here's an alternative idea. They're the same character, right? Mm-hmm. She's there, and you know, eventually she reveals that she used to be a stormtrooper, and they're on the planet, and she's like, "Oh, I know where there's some people here who can help us." But like, she keeps the chip with her for stuff reasons, and when the stormtroopers attack the town she's like living in, she's like, "Actually, maybe I would like to get out of here before the stormtroopers kill me. So yeah, let's all go together. That's a good idea." Like, you could have that be a thing. And then, you know, they could be the same character. You know, she could be there into the stormtrooper people, as opposed to them being like, "Oh yeah, we'll totally go out of hiding just to help you right now with this very dangerous mission. That sounds like something we should do." And why? You had two empty characters where you could have had one complete character. Where was...
Impossible.
I don't get it. Or like the Red Stormtroopers. Here's an idea. Instead of having the Red Stormtroopers appear for 30 seconds toward the end of the film and just sort of die in battle in the background, you want to make them neat? You want to make them cool? Here's an idea. They arrive on that ship to try and save Chewie, right? Because Chewie lives. But no, in my version, maybe Chewie fucking dies. And Emperor Palpatine's like, I'm sorry to spoil this, but it should have already been spoiled for you by now, Sean. I shall lure Rey onto this fighter, and then I shall capture her. So like, all right, they show up on the ship, they go out to go get the stuff they need. Rey has her brain battle with Kylo Ren. The other guys go try and get Chewie. And then, shortly after they arrive and have left, an old Imperial shuttle comes in. Some spooky Palpatine music plays, and they're like, "Oh wow, they have the right code. They have the pass. They have their chip. This is a really old shuttle. I don't know what's happening." Have like I don't know the Kylo Ren cool boys be talking about it. Be like, "Oh well, they check out. I don't know what's up with this, but they've got the creds." And they get off, and they're the red stormtroopers, and then they go after the people, and they're very intimidating and mysterious. Except I guess they wouldn't be as mysterious, being as they have already spoiled the Palpatine twist within the first 5 minutes of the movie. But what do I know? These are just ideas these are ideas I had while I was watching, by the way. While I was consuming this media, this was like, this is something we could fix so easily. And I don't understand it, because they have such beautiful sets. And then, like, half the time they're not on a set. They're in, like, some huge, wild wilderness, right? Which is okay sometimes. But then you're skipping out on awesome Star Wars set design. So why? Why would you do that? I don't understand it. The Mandalorian is cool, but it does the same thing, where it'll have sets that are like empty, right? Oh, we're fighting in an ice wilderness or out on this desert mud planet. So they don't have to have like props and shit to pay for.
Yeah, I mean it helps when you're making a show like that to like slim it down to just like barren rock or desert, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. You don't have to care about a whole array of things in the background that people will nitpick over.
Yeah. I'm okay with that a little bit for the the TV show, The Mandalorian, because at least when they have stuff in the background, it's usually pretty cool. It's pretty juicy, right?
Yeah.
They do a good job at environmental set design, but it's just not there in the same way. Like, there's a scene, and I think what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to be running from TIE fighters over a reflective lake. But because of the CGI's sort of mixed quality in the movie, I thought that they had accidentally rendered 2 Millennium Falcons into the shot. And I'm still not convinced otherwise. My wife has been fighting me over this. We've watched it 3 times. The scene. Or 2 times. Sorry, not 3. Just to check. But am I crazy? Is there a scene where they accidentally rendered two Millennium Falcons?
Maybe.
I feel like I'm insane. Okay. Sean, are you okay?
Yeah.
I think we hurt Sean.
No, I just don't know how to input on movies I haven't seen.
Yeah. It's
You're
tricky.
just gonna be like, yeah, damn Star Wars movies sucked.
Pretty much.
I like the first of the new trilogy well enough, but like
I didn't have that high an
I wasn't
expectation.
pushed. Yeah,
I was
wasn't
okay.
pushed to see the second two in the slightest.
I was okay with the first one because while it wasn't like really great, it wasn't really bad, and it nailed that environmental stuff, which I cared about. But they stripped away that environmental stuff in the other movies, which takes away the one thing that you had, other than emo angsty Kylo Ren who could have my babies.
Why does everybody want Kylo Ren to be a hunk?
I liked Kylo Ren. I know people didn't like that he was whiny, but I was
Rilo
okay.
Ken.
At least Kylo Ren makes sense as a character. Everyone else is just weird and dumb. Like, everything else is just weird and dumb. They build it up and then they never go anywhere with it. Or like, oh, all of these boys didn't like Rose because she was chunky. Better have her barely exist. Like, okay, thanks. I'm really glad we wasted all that time with Rose last season, just for you to just like have her not be there.
Just for her to not be a thing.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, we're building up this chick to be like, maybe she'll be important. Maybe she'll be the reason Finn like wants to kill himself for the good of like the cause, basically.
Yeah. But
it's like, oh, at the last second, she just swoops in and like, no, if you died, I would lose my reason for living too. And it's like, no, fuck yourself. He's
no,
dying to
no,
save
everyone's
everybody.
going to die now.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Thanks. Genius. Also,
How is you
the
saving me
mechanics,
from saving you saving anyone?
the mechanics of where she like speeds up and rams into his side don't make any sense.
Yeah, like again, he was out in front, but whatever.
We're talking about
can
the second
take her-
movie now too. By the way.
we can put her in front of him, and that equates to him being sideswiped, basically.
Yeah, but it really blows my brain that you could have people who do so good at their job on the same set with people so inept, right? Because like none of these actors are bad, right? None of these
No.
actors are like, oh my god, I really am not feeling him. Oh my god, except for Lando Calrissian in the third movie, he felt very just sort of plugged in. He was there for the paycheck.
Good old Lando.
Yeah, he was there for no fucking reason.
I just because it's in his contract, maybe like Billy D's got to get paid, man.
Or like, I hate that the New Order has zero fucking surveillance anywhere. They're like in the third movie, they're just wandering around and no one can fucking find them.
Yeah.
And like, also there's a scene where Hux, because he's a traitor and a spy, fucking goes along with some guys and fucking saves the group at the last minute for his own selfish reasons. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't it make more sense for there to be other people who don't like Kylo Ren conspiring with him? Like, wouldn't it make more sense for him to roll in with a squad for safety reasons? Because, like, you think one person, even a high-ranking person like Hux, would not be able to get away with stuff that easily without a network, right? There have to be other people who don't like Kylo Ren as the leader, right? This happens in real life. Have him have co-conspirators show up and save the day.
They would have gotten sick. They would have gotten sick of following fucking more Sith over and over again. Like, yeah, they had the Empire for a good like hot second, but then that just fell to shit as soon as some Jedi came around.
Yeah, and like.
So it's like, okay, as long as there's ever going to be a Jedi, there's always going to be the end of our empire because we just have Jedi versus Sith.
Yeah, but my point is like other people act like they don't like Kylo Ren, so it makes sense. Like there are people in the room with Kylo Ren. The one time he asks Hux something, and the person next to him, I think I forget what happens, but the person next to him kind of like squirms and is like, because they don't like him.
Yeah.
And they could play off of that and have like a whole group of people save the day. Instead of Hux, who's been a sniveling asshole this whole time, do a brave thing. That makes no sense.
I did love like in the first one where when he got some bad news, Kylo Ren would just like throw his shit and you just see like people
out of the fucking control board.
Yeah, just destroys the control board. And you just see the guy standing there. It's like, there's more. It's like, fuck. You haven't told me all. It's like the best ones were the stormtroopers that just like came around the corner and saw that shit and they were just like back away slow. I was like,
yeah,
they get it. They get it.
It's great. It's great though, because that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
A person a young guy who fetishizes anger is totally gonna have a tantrum every time something goes wrong. Right?
Exactly. And that's why you would have an entire like force derived around, okay, let's not tell him anything.
Yeah.
Just be like, cool it for a second, like Goose Fraba, like we couldn't find the girl, and it's like, off with your heads. Like, oh god.
Yeah.
Oh god, he's on the bullshit again.
Yeah.
Yep. There's so much potential and it's all gone now.
Hard hits.
It's all gone now.
I mean, they've got to make 18 more of these now, so they got to figure out how in the God's green earth they're gonna make more Star Wars without
it's like
Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like this. All right, so you remember Solo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how Solo, when I watched Solo, I thought, oh wow, this is
I actually never watched the
promising.
movie.
I did not watch Solo either.
I
Actually.
chose to save myself.
Yeah, Solo's not very good. It's better than The Last Jedi,
Mhm.
but that's not saying very much. And so it starts off on Corellian, right, which is like a big industrial place, huge factory complex, cities built over a raging sea. There are highways that go out from it to like the spaceports and shit. And
Yeah,
like
that sounds
it
cool.
starts off there, and I think this is great. It's going to be like all gritty cities and like the underground, and then they go to this like luxurious. Then they have like a set that's like a battlefield, like a muddy, gross battlefield, and Han Solo's some kind of Imperial regular where he's not a stormtrooper, but he's dressed as like a jackass with some other people in like a
Yeah.
trench. And I thought, oh, that's pretty gritty. And then it's like, oh yeah, from here he's gonna desert and like become a smuggler and shit, and it's gonna be all gritty cities and like war zones and shit. And they spend the rest of it like in beautiful open countrysides and like a decadent floating barge and shit like that. And I'm like, why? Why? You've established a tone. Stick with the tone. He's a smuggler. Have him be filthy, dirty ass places, dude. Go to Nar Shaddaa. Go to fucking Tatooine again, dude. And instead, it's all just like idyllic countryside, which is all that Star Wars seems to fucking have now. Is idyllic countryside that makes me want to fucking rage. If I wanted idyllic countryside, I would watch Game of fucking Thrones, right? First 5 seasons and then stop. But no, just no fucking gritty cities, no bustling bars, just whatever the fuck that was. And that was disappointing. And Solo had some promise in it. It just is disappointing. Also, they just sort of have Chewie drop onto his lap. Like the stormtroopers try and literally feed Han Solo to Chewie. Like
Okay.
as a thing, as in they feed people to the Wookiee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So Chewie's been eating people? In like this little mud cell? And I didn't get that. That's very confusing to me. But that's my last complaint. I'm not going to talk about Solo anymore. It's not worth the
I would
prep.
say the one thing I saw from like the trailers or whatever was the fact that like Chewie was something like over 170 years old or something bullshit like that when he first meets Han Solo. So I'm like, wait, he's this spry at like 150 plus years old, and then he's going around with Han when Han is like in his 70s or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I think maybe Wookiees just age differently. I'm okay with that. It's just like, I figured they'd be friends, man. I figured they'd be better friends.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't just be like, oh no, we need each other to escape or some shit. And the thing is, Han happens to speak Wookiee. There's no reason for him to speak Wookiee in the movie. He just does.
It just does.
That's the other great. These are the 2 great tragedies of our generation, people. That's why we're discussing it. A, our beautiful orange boy has lost his presidency. Oh, so sad. The second is our beautiful Star Wars is ruined by all this SJW cuckoldry. Because that's why they're bad. Nothing else. Shut up. Leave me alone. There are no other reasons why these movies would be bad. I can think of none. All right, I think we should stop. Sean, lead us out, please. I can't do this anymore.
One last topic on back with politics and everything. Has everybody seen Joe Biden's dogs he just adopted? / has adopted. I don't know.
I was
when
gonna
the fuck
say,
he
I know
adopted.
he's got the German Shepherd. I don't know what is that another one?
Yeah, I guess there's another. I think it's a German Shepherd. It's new. But yeah,
Okay.
the one I guess is the one he already had or something. Is fucking gigantic.
Okay.
Like I saw a picture of him sitting with it in front of him, and like the head came up to his chest. I was like, "Good lord, that is an enormous dog."
Yeah, German Shepherds be big, my dude.
It was big for a German Shepherd.
I could see that. I love Shepherds.
I
They're
don't
great.
know. I was very shook by the size of this dog.
Yeah.
And I
Shepherds
just, I
are
don't know.
nice. They're
Oh,
fiercely
that's it.
loyal doggos. They got
Yeah,
big preach
I just,
from me.
I just wanted to bring in the topic of Joe Biden's cute
Alright.
dogs.
All right, Dave, you want to lead us
Cow.
out? Dave, give us an
All right,
outro.
Yo.
so this has been
Subscribe for the vibe. Like if you like. If not, you get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, what you doing here? Fuck off. Asshole.
We don't want you around this part. We only like those who like us.
All right.
What? I ain't a racist.
Yeah. Bye.
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 It's clicked.